Hi folks, so I'm going to go ahead and go through our next lab for 2300. This is technically lab 4 because, we're going slightly out of order. So what I want you to do is open up your lab manual and scroll down to part 2 because part 1 is not GIS. Part 2 starts where GIS is. So we're going to go over that. The first thing you should have done is download the lab 4 zip file. Last week you should have downloaded data and done the same thing. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm doing here. All right, so now you can see I have navigated to where I downloaded the data, and it's called lab 4 and it's a package zip file. So it needs to be extracted. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click extract all. I'm going to browse to where I want this to go. So you should have it under lab 4. Then you're going to need to have a downloaded folder. If you haven't already made one, go ahead and do that. You're going to highlight that folder, select it. And that's where your data is going to go. You're going to extract your data, wait for it to download, and then voila. Once this opens, it's been extracted, you're just going to click on it once. It's going to automatically open up GIS for you. Well, you might have to double click it. Sorry. So let's see. Now you should be able to see that ArcGIS Pro is opening. I'm going to switch my screen here. Give me just a second. Once GIS opens for you, let's see, where's my GIS stuff? Switch to my other screen. Thanks for your patience. All right. So make that smaller. I have a lot of stuff going on, which is pretty typical. All right, so let's get to GIS here. It should have opened up to the GIS platform. So at the top, you're going to see that you have 3 different map tabs: forest loss, Madagascar, and Madagascar population. Over here on the left is the contents pane. Your stuff will be black and white, which isn't always really fun to look at. So you can change that in a minute. We'll talk about that in just a second. If you wanted to change the view, you can go to the top of the screen up here on the ribbon, and you're going to click on the word view. It'll change the ribbon. You're going to go to the middle where it says Color Vision Simulator. And this allows you to change the colors based on color blindness. I did this on purpose so that you can actually see and change what you may or may not want. So if you were creating something for a client, or you yourself have a hard time seeing different colors, you can change it this way. Okay, so this simulates the different kinds of color blindness and allows people to see it. So it's an accessibility tool that didn't used to be here. If you wanted to turn it off, I can't remember how to turn that off. Hang on, let me look this up really quick. So, I'm gonna go to, how do I turn off? To turn off Color Vision Simulator in ArcGIS Pro. All right, it's gonna think about it. It says maybe there's an X. Let's see. I don't see an X, so maybe it's this button here. I gotta move all these screen things so I can see what I'm doing. Stand by just a second. That's an animation. That's not right. Let's see. Be the view tab, click the view, find the accessibility ribbon, click the font, select none. It doesn't have a none. Helpful. Let's see. I'm going to go to the Esri help page because I'm not getting the answer that I want. How to use it. This tells you how to use it. Fun. How about turning it off? To exit, click the exit button at the upper right part of the map, layout or presentation. So the red X, okay. I'm gonna minimize this. Oh, I see. So here's my map tab. Over here is the red X on the top right-hand side of the screen. Can you see that? Just want to make sure you can see that. I click it and now it changes back to standard colors. Same concept across my entire map now. So I can turn that off without any issues. So then if you wanted this color to change, I'm sure you all kind of remember this from last time. You right click on the layer file, you go to symbology, your symbology tab opens up over here. We're going to change this to say graduated colors, and this is usually the default for that. You have to change this field to whatever it is that you want it to be. So if it's say sum of loss, now it's the sum of loss of oil production and a percentage. So we'll talk about this a little bit. I'm getting kind of ahead of ourselves. So I'm going to switch back and open up my lab manual. It's going to talk all about the stuff I have to do. I already clicked on the package project file to open it. That's that PPRX file. I'm going to keep scrolling down, explore around the map, turn on and off some layers and see what happens. So I'm going to go back here. This is a layer. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn that one off. Oh, okay. So this is a lot less. That's interesting. What if I turn this one off? Turn this one on. Well, that's all one color. So I'm going to change the symbology again so it makes it a little bit more fun for me. Where is my symbology tab? Oh, here we go. Single to graduated. Oh, wow, that's a lot more loss, right? From soybean production. If I turn that one off, palm production is really in one area, and then cattle and forest, that's quite a bit as well. So then you can go back to your lab manual. Hopefully you also have your quiz open. I am not going to do that right now. And you can answer these thoughts. So what type of data is represented by the layers? If you don't recognize the geometry type, you can right click on the layer and choose properties and then source. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to right click on the layer. We're going to go to properties, click on source, and then it tells you. So it's a feature class. The geometry type is a polygon, which probably makes sense as we talked about this in class. So I know you're already on top of it. Okay, so we did that. Cool. So what type of geometry? You can answer it. Let's look at the attribute table for the palm oil layer. And you want to look at what data has been stored. So we're going to right click, open up the attribute table. That opens up this Excel sheet down here. So we have the name, some sort of ID, the secondary name, maybe that's the area, it looks like in Spanish. We have loss by percentage over different years from 2001 to 2015. Total loss is 0, so I don't know what that means. Sometimes you're going to get data that looks really funky, right? Then we have sum of loss, okay, so total percentage, and then the shape area and shape length, which is basically the just the area of each polygon, okay? All right, cool. So I'm going to go back to my manual. And as you notice, I'm not splitting my GIS screen. I click my manual on and off on purpose because I want my GIS screen to be as big as possible because there's a lot of details. And if you minimize your GIS screen, you'll lose things and then it's very stressful. All right. So we want to summarize the attribute data and find out how much forest cover has been lost. In order to do this, we're using the Select by Attributes tool. This is where you should write down on your piece of paper that you are learning how to use the Select by Attributes tool. And we're going to use name 0 is equal to Indonesia for palm oil. So I have this on here. You can do this 2 different ways, right? So you highlight the layer file. I already have my attribute table open. So there is a Select by Attributes button right here, and it opens up the screen. You can do it that way. And I'll show you how to do it the other way. You want to make sure your input row is the one that you are looking at, which is forest loss to oil. But you can also use this drop-down button and you can pick the others if it was incorrect. It is a new selection because you haven't done anything yet. Where, so this gives you the column ID at the top. We want name equals or underscore 0. is equal to, see this drop down gives you all kinds of options. So is equal to, and when you want Indonesia. So instead of typing things in, don't do that because that's how you screw stuff up. And the computer is very black and white, zeros and ones, right? So use the selection when you have the option. So we selected Indonesia. You're going to click apply. What it does then is it goes through and selects only Indonesia. You click OK. You'll now notice that if you have the layer turned on, that sections of it are highlighted in blue or kind of a turquoise color. That's your selected layer. Okay. What does it ask us to do next? So we did that. Zoom to selection. All right. So we're going to right click on in the contents pane. We're going to go to not zoom to layer, but go to selection and then zoom to selection. So it takes you to wherever that is. So say you're looking at this giant set of data. You don't want to zoom all over your screen. So this allows you to do it this way much faster. Okay, cool. So it allows you to zoom to selection. Now what does it want us to do? Awesome, I see that. I zoomed in. You're going to use the snip tool and take a picture and upload your JPEG. So now I'm going to go down to the bottom of my screen. If I don't already have my zip tool open, I can click the little button, the little 4 buttons. I have snipping tool right here, or you can type in snipping tool. Okay, it pops up. This little screen is super fun. I'm going to click on new. I get the crosshairs. I'm going to get the entire screen and make sure my name is included, as well as the date on the bottom. Okay, now where does it go? It pops up right here, and you have to save as. So let's see, you can do the forward arrow, I think. Nope, that's the share one. Sorry. You go to the save button here, save as. It's going to open up a new window. You're going to put it hopefully on your shared drive. I'm working on my own computer, so you could go, PC, and then I'm not allowed to access the shared drive because I'm not a student. They don't want us messing it up. So you go to the shared drive, you go to your folder where your lab is, lab 4, and usually I make a folder of screenshots just in case, my TA needs it for later, and I go ahead and save it in there. Okay. You just want to make sure you save it as you go, because otherwise it goes into the abyss. All right, so now I've saved it. I have to upload it to my Brightspace page. Let's see, maybe I should show you all how to do this. All right, let me get into Brightspace. Do I have the quiz set up yet? No. Okay, I can't do that because I don't have the quiz set up for you while I'm doing this. So you can ask your TA how to do it properly. So now we're gonna go to the attribute table again and scroll over to the column named sum of loss. So we're gonna scroll over here and you see this column, sum of loss. What's the question? Right click on the column and visualize statistics. This is going to generate a summary statistics table for the data set as a whole. So right click, summarize. All right. It has some questions like what goes where. So I'm going to scroll down. Oh, we want to visualize statistics. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. So right click, visualize statistics. Cool. Now it opens up a couple things. On the bottom here, you're going to have a chart. You're also going to have what's called the chart properties. The chart properties might pop up in the middle of your screen, but it might also be over here on the right. That's usually where it is. A lot of times it pops up over here and hides. So if you can't find it for some reason, look over here. Okay. It'll float around, but this is where you're going to get the answers to the questions. Let's see. Can I grab this now? Is it doing weird stuff? Anyway, I like talking to you while I'm figuring things out, as you understand that everybody goes through this. Okay. So what's the total loss? The total loss would be the sum over here. And so it's not the whole data set, right? Because that's all the countries. It's the selection. Remember how we have just Indonesia selected? So you can get the answer there. And then what's the total forest loss for the whole data set? That number is right next to it where the sum is. Okay, does that make sense? Awesome. So now you're going to go back to GIS. You're going to close these windows. You are going to clear your selections. Go back up to the top where it says map ribbon. You're going to click the clear button. You want to get rid of that highlighted section. Why do you need to get rid of that? Because if you don't, what happens is if you start to do more analysis, it thinks that you're talking about just that selection, and you don't want to do that, okay? Because that's not what we're going to work on. So let's go back to the manual. Now we're in part 3. So you're going to create a map showing the forest loss in Madagascar. In this, you're going to make a lab layout, which is kind of, or a map layout. There are 2 more panes that are Madagascar forest loss to cattle production and then population. So they have already been centered, which makes it a little bit nicer for you. So you can go back to GIS, you can click the back button if your navigate button is messy, if you're zoomed way out or something like that. You can go up here to the top and it's under the map ribbon, the back button takes you to what's called the previous extent. And I've set this so that way you can see Madagascar and it's not lost somewhere, okay? You can zoom around your map if you want, but you're going to want to make a layout, which is basically what you would hand in if you were making a map for someone. So you're going to go back to GIS and we want to go to the insert pane at the top. Oops, I haven't saved for a while, so I'm going to go up here and click save so that way I don't screw up my project, or if my computer crashes, Okay, insert ribbon, new layout. I'm going to click the drop down. I think it asks for landscape. Yep, letter and landscape. So, okay, new layout, letter, landscape, ANSI. So now it's going to open another pane, and now it looks like a blank page, basically. So now what do I do? Okay, I did the steps. Cool, it's a blank page. All right, so these are important. Click the rulers where you want to add a guide, and then right click to add a guide. Okay, what the heck does that mean? So at the top of your screen, you can see that there are rulers along the page. So we're going to add a guide. So I want to probably do it at the 1-inch margin. So I'm going to come back to GIS and I'm going to move my cursor and click on the 1-inch spot. I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a guide. And what that does, see, it just draws a line. Okay. And I go back over here to this side and I right click and I add a guide. Now, if I want to do the same thing on this side, I can add a guide. You can also add multiple guides if you don't want to do it one at a time, but when you're first starting, smart to do it one at a time. So basically this gives my maps like a nice square. Now you can see my bottom guide is off, right? So I can go back over here, I can right click on it, and I know there's a way to select it and get rid of it. Hang on a second. Right click, properties, no, let's see. Always helps if you remember how to do everything, right? I don't usually make map guides anymore. Oh, here it is. That's the button. So I clicked on the actual ruler and I'm going to remove the guide and see now it takes it out. So looks like from 0 to 1 is probably a better place to put it. So I'm going to add the guide. Yeah, now everything is at 1 inch all the way around. Does that help? So again, if you mess it up, you can highlight over here on the ruler. There's a blue arrow, right click it, and you can remove the guide. You can remove all the guides if you needed to. All right, and that allows you to put your guides back on here. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and save so that doesn't get messed up. All right, awesome. Now we're going to create our own symbology for each map by highlighting the layer file and right-clicking to open up the symbology. So now I'm going to go back to the map. First, I'm going to do forest loss to cattle production. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to right-click on it and go to symbology. My symbology tab should open up on the far right-hand side of my screen if it's pinned. If it's not, or you can't see it, your GIS screen might be down too far, because on the bottom you should have tabs called catalog, symbology, whatever else you might have open. All right, so I need to set it to total loss and graduated colors. Correct. Natural breaks, 7 breaks. You can choose the black and white color scheme. I don't think I said you had to. Oh yeah, you can change it to any color palette you want. So I'm feeling more colorful, so I'm gonna go down here and do purple because I'm feeling purpley today, right? Cool, awesome. Looks like my significant figures are good. I don't have any weird numbers over here. That's fine. There are 7 things, so I'm not going to lose points for that. Now you're going to insert the map frame onto the layout. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the layout. I want to insert a map frame. So insert button, map frame. I do the drop down because I want to use the right map. So I'm going to go to the cattle production. I'm going to click on it. Now it's going to give me a little crosshair. So I'm going to make a square, like about halfway across. And then there's my map. Cool, right? So now I'm going to go to my manual, see what it wants me to do next. Oops, we're supposed to do the other map too. Okay, so back to the map, Madagascar population. I'm going to right click that. I'm going to change the symbology. I'm going to do 7 breaks, just like the other one. Make sure that the field is for total population. And the other one was purple, so what is good for purple? Maybe purple and green? Sure, that works. Okay. I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go back to my layout. I want to insert another map frame, but this time I'm going to do the Madagascar population. So I'm going to drag this like so. And there's my map. Oh, that looks weird though, right? So how the heck do I fix this? I click on it. I want to activate my map frame. So I'm going to go up here and all of a sudden there is a map frame ribbon button. So I'm going to hit it. Is that it? I don't think that's it. No, that just lets you mess around with the map frame. So I'm going to go back to the layout button. Where's that activate button? Oh, there it is. All right. So it's under layout, activate. I've highlighted it, activate. So now, see how everything else grays out? Now when I zoom in and out, changes just this map. Okay. So you can drag it up and down to the side, whatever. You can zoom in and out. And I want it to be, you know, as close to the other one as possible, but because I'm using my mouse, of course, it's not going to work very nicely for me. So it's close enough. Now, when I'm done, so that I don't screw up my entire map, I'm going to go back to layout and I'm going to close the activation. Make sure you do this because otherwise you're going to start clicking on stuff and it's going to screw up your map. Okay, so don't forget layout up here, activate, whichever one is, it needs to be moved around. That's how you do it. Awesome. Go ahead and save and go back to my manual. Okay, I've done that part. We're going to add a title. So you're going to click on the A towards the top. So we're going back here. Let's see, we want to insert a title. Is that where it is? Yep, up here. So insert over to the right. We're going to click on the street text A, which is under the graphics and text here at the top. You're going to create a box up at the top of your map or the bottom of your map. You can do it wherever you want. And we are going to, let's see, what should we write in there? Madagascar forest lost to cattle. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna Madagascar forest lost. Whoa, lost to cattle. Well, that's like way too big. So how do I fix that, right? Let's highlight it. Right click it. No, that's not it. Okay, I'm gonna open up my graphics and text. See how I went up here and I clicked on the drop down arrow. So it's set to Times New Roman. The text is set to 8 point. That doesn't seem right. I'm gonna set it to 7. Click OK. That didn't work. So how the heck do we change our text? Oh, look, there's a text button up here. All right, so we go up to text and it's set to Tahoma 48.79. Holy bajolies, right? So let's change it to say 20. Way smaller, a little too small. Okay, so I'm gonna mess around with this to make sure it looks nice. I can center it if I want. I can do all kinds of different stuff. Okay, I can change the color of it. I can change it to bold so everybody see what I'm doing and clicking around. You know, just make sure it's visible. You know, doesn't need to be any particular color, shape, or size. Every time you change something, go ahead and go up here to the left and click save. All right, I've added my stuff. Now I need to write who the map was made by, which was me. So I'm going to add text again. I'm going to go back to GIS. I am going to, where was it? Oh, right, insert. Okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on straight text. I'm going to draw myself a little box down here. I'm going to write map by my name. You write your own name, please. I don't think it needs to be quite this big again, so I'm gonna go back up here to the text at the top. I'm gonna change it to much smaller. And I'm gonna leave it as is. I'm gonna go ahead and click save. Cool. Now what else do I have to do? We're not gonna worry about other map elements for this first one. We're gonna export it and put it into Brightspace. So in order to export it as a web JPEG, you're going to go back to GIS. You're going to go up to the top where it says share. There is a export your layout button. You're going to do the drop down and you have a couple options, right? You have GeoTIFF, PDF, nope, oh, web JPEG. So you're going to highlight that. It's going to open up a new window off here to the right. Yes, you want it to be a JPEG. You need to navigate to your folder for your Lab 4 folder. So you're going to click the little yellow folder button. You're going to go find where you keep it, which should be the same way that you did earlier. Go to Lab 4. I'm not going to put it in screenshots. I'm just going to put it as the layout in here. Maybe I should call this something like my last name, my first name, Lab 4 layout, so that way the instructor knows whose it is. Hint, hint, hint. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to export it down here on the bottom. All right. If you were doing this for, say, an article, putting it on a poster, something like that, you would change the resolution to be much higher, but it's not necessary for this particular lab. You know it's done because at the bottom there's a green check mark. Yay. So I'm going to go back to my lab manual. Cool. So now you're going to upload your web JPEG. You can look around in here if you're more interested. Make sure you always answer question 17. It helps us adjust the labs to do better, things that are not clear, etc. And this is how we fix it. I hope you enjoyed your lab today, and hopefully these recordings help. Thanks so much.